Good morning. We're already in July 2020. The last 3 months has been disastrous for many tech companies. We have been interacting with a bunch of tech companies, both in India and Southeast Asia, and some of them also doing business in the US. And I can tell you that most of them have come to a grinding halt, barring a very few. Hey, this is Mag Rajashekharan, founder, director of Agility Nexus Singapore. So we help tech CEOs accelerate revenue. So as the heading goes, how do you drive revenue in the post-COVID-19 environment? So let's take a quick look. We work with three types of companies. The ones in the yellow, green, and blue. The yellow are the ones with a revenue of about $1 million to $2 million, and the green 3 to 5 million, and the blues always all the way up to 10 million and beyond. Irrespective of each of these boxes, businesses have been hit. So earlier, the entrepreneurs or technopreneurs we are working with had different issues when it came to building demand. But come February, March timeframe, once COVID hit, all the gloves were off. Yeah, the market tanked, and most of the customers were in the survival or protection mode. And all the tech CEOs and businesses which were aligned to service their markets came to a grinding halt. It just did not matter what they were doing. The market just became unresponsive to any kind of campaign. And that's what we are facing in today's world. So it is better to classify the world pre-COVID and post-COVID. So typically around the May-June timeframe, I would call it as anything which you decided or put in plan, call it as pre-COVID world. And the world you're facing post-June, that we are in July, is the post-COVID world. So let's see what happened in the pre-COVID world. So when you started the year, you started with a bang. Let's nail 2020. Growth at any cost. So digital transformation was on, and all kinds of companies were involved in shifting the digital paradigm for many businesses. And yes, the business model was shifting. People who had some kind of legacy environment were moving into the new world, which is cloud, mobile, AI kind of world, and tweaking their business models accordingly. And the name of the game was tech growth acceleration. And most of the CEOs were also teeing up for 2021. So we were working with few tech CEOs who were raising funds, and they wanted to grow fast and multiply 5 or 6 times in the region. And come February, March, after COVID hit the world in a big way, what happened was people just did not know what hit businesses. Airports were shut down. The travel, hospitality, and the entertainment business came to a grinding halt. And businesses were facing discontinuous shift. I mean, discontinuous as in it's a standstill, it's a stop, and nobody knew when it's going to start. And for some of these businesses, it's the same case even today. And there's a huge shift in priorities from growth at any cost to how do I survive? And there was a period of overwhelm, and now we are in the phase of every business needs to reimagine its growth trajectory. And now the tech, which was inclined towards growth acceleration, is now come to rescue to see how do I help businesses recover? How do I salvage 2020? So that's been the main focus as we move along in the post-COVID world. So that brings us to the 3 circles. Yeah. So this 3 circle is something which we always share with customers. And most of them came to us because if you see the bottom circle, they always found it difficult to penetrate into new markets. And how do we be heard by the market, a particular segment, and how do we drive demand in those segments? So those were the reasons why tech CEOs engaged us. But now I'm adding 2 more to the top. Market recovery. So how do I bring tech to help my customers recover from this post-COVID, in the post-COVID world? And what are all the post-COVID scenarios which I need to help my clients with? So in this case, what is becoming more evident is how can tech companies help businesses address these 2 things? So if you're not going to play this card, it is very difficult for your businesses to get some kind of a run rate going or be relevant to the market in the current context and achieve your desired growth. So this is not going to happen. And so what exactly we are up to right now is, I've just put the timeline here, and then you have your revenue, company revenue. And it is very understandable that in the month all the way from March to July, or even now, the zone of overwhelm is where your revenue must have totally stalled. Very understandable. So this is what we call as the pre-COVID world. The line here demarcates the pre-COVID world. And now we can see businesses start shifting, right? They're moved away from the zone of overwhelm, and now they're moving towards the zone of action. And we are somewhere here. So this is the time when you need to shift your focus from being a protective entity where you're just not doing much, and everybody's staring at everybody's face, and nobody knows how things are going to pan out. And even worse, a lot of layoffs are happening in the sector. So if you're caught in this cycle here, so you're pretty much going to miss the bus here. So let's see what happens in the post-COVID world, right? So a lot of businesses are up for survival. Even the big boys have thrown the towel and filed for Chapter 11. But there are a lot of other businesses which are shifting their business models, operating models, and also building certain level of resilience in their balance sheet, and also planning to have alternatives for the supply chain. A lot of activity is happening in the world in this space in the month of June, July timeframe. And this is where you need to move from a zone of overwhelm to a zone of action. So it is very important to take steps in the month of July all the way up to September, October, so that you're able to catch the renewed growth phase. So if you're not in the zone of action and taking right steps for your organization, rest assured that you're going to be left behind by a lot of companies. So the famous saying goes, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. So now is the time for you to respond in a much more meaningful way. So what do? So the first step, most of the tech companies, which are all the way up to 5 million to 6 million, or even slightly lower than that, what you got to do is to reassess your market segments. So in this case, what you can see here is 4 bubbles. And we are helping some of our clients assess the market segments where, so in this case, the white segment, if you have certain customers in travel, hospitality, and entertainment, a bit of media and things like that, they're hit in a big way. So, and then there are other bunch of segments which are also hit, but not as much. And then you have the pink zone and the blue zone. So we take the entire segment of your business, customer segment of your business, and we start sieving it to see which of those segments which we need to have a primary focus on for the next couple of months or maybe 2 quarters. So ignore the white, nurture the yellow, and focus on the pink and the blue. If you're not putting your energy in the pink and the blue zone, so you're pretty much taking a backseat, and you'll be wasting a lot of energy. And what has happened in the Q1, Q2 2020, where you locked your forecast, you had your GTM and some kind of sales kickoff with your sales teams, and had your sales motion in place and execution focus. But when it comes to Q3, Q4 2020, you got to completely shift the way you sell in the new normal, and which includes revising your budgets. So maybe you're going to bring the budgets down, and then you got to review your go-to-market. You got to be relevant to post-COVID world. You need to have some kind of a workforce protection. I'm sure you must have taken some precaution right now, and some kind of offering towards compliance. Look at your product portfolio and see what makes sense to your segments. And your client retention becomes an important activity right now. And also mixing and matching offerings to client priorities also takes a very important role. And we cannot stress the importance of changing your message. So we call it the message pivot. So if you're not pivoting your message to post-COVID world, again, you're making a big blunder. Don't sell as if this was February 2020. The world has shifted under your legs as we speak. And you got to revise your sales motions and lines with the message and point it towards the segments which are willing to spend. So what's the way forward? The way we see the way forward is, or the changes which need to take place are in three ways. One is to have a COVID play and then align your GTM and then execute extremely well. So the first thing is the COVID play. So by now I'm sure you must have assessed, understood and measured client impact of each and every of your account and how their revenues and their profits are going to be impacted by COVID. So if you're not done that, please do that right away. And the benefits of doing this is you will recognize the new normal and its impact on your client business and identify client value that resonates in the post-COVID world. So do not go back to them and start selling stuff which will not work post-July. And align your messaging to the new client value. So these are some of the important things what you got to be doing from a sales and marketing angle. And usually we help our clients. We are working with a lot of clients right now to do a COVID pivot workshop. So where we are reviewing the customer segment in terms of revenue pools, and then we are carving market messages to be relevant in the post-COVID world. And we are also helping some of our clients to relook at their product portfolios, solution offerings, and tune it to be more COVID relevant, post-COVID relevant. The second important activity is align your go-to-market engine. So as we said earlier, segmenting is very important. And now aligning the go-to-market for each segment also becomes extremely important. So which involves the marketing plays and the sales motions which go along with it. So what you cannot do is sell as if you are in February 2020 and approach your clients with similar messages. It just does not work. So what happens when you do this activity is you will be tweaking your go-to-market, so which also includes shifting your cost base. Maybe for a few of our clients, we have front-loaded digital sales more than field sales, because field sales, people are pretty much sitting in their houses and trying to engage customers. So there are a lot more activity can be done using digital, using creative and innovative modes to engage clients. So you got to be shifting your sales motion. And how? It is using GTM intervention. And these are some of the workshops we are having with our clients as well. And the last bit is the execution. Yeah. So how are you going to re-engage and execute with your client base? So we spoke about the segment, the go-to-market, and the shift in marketing plays and sales motions. So you got to take this and overlay it onto your weekly and monthly activities. And you got to be supporting sellers with the new sales motion, and you got to bring certain level of synergy in the selling effort. And we cannot let the sales guys alone at this point in time. You got to enable your sellers with crucial info to influence buyers, which involves updating sales playbooks and introducing sales enablement tools. So today the sales folks need a lot of morale boost from the leaders, and you got to be staying close to the ground along with these guys to help them succeed. And that brings me to the buyer journey. So how are the buyer journey impacted in the post-COVID world? So as you can see here in the awareness section, we have a lot of uncertainty, fear and anxiety, which is come into the market, and customers are also in the zone of overwhelm a lot of times. They are strengthening their balance sheet, they're going after liquidity, they are getting their accounts receivable in, and they're doing everything possible to keep their business going in this COVID environment. So this is where you can help a lot. Is your brand empathetic at this point in time? Are you sending hundreds and hundreds of mails with no empathy shown towards your customers? So this is going to have a bad impact on your demand acceleration as well as awareness of your company. So you need to have a clear post-COVID how-tos, recovery paths, and transformation in your sales and marketing activities, which are relevant to the times. So this is where the awareness side of things, you have to work on your sales and marketing processes and tweak what the motions, the plays, and also revamp your messaging to be in alignment with the market. And this is where you're going to help your customers recover through the challenge recovery phase, and help them move running, get to business in Q3 and Q4. So if you're not identified with your customer buying journeys, but still selling as if nothing has happened, it is highly likely that your pipeline is going to be filled and you're going to make your H2 numbers. And finally, the way we look at, again, the attract, interest, and convert of any sales cycle is through three lenses. How do we recalibrate deals which were in the pipeline in Q1? And how do we tweak and calibrate a go-to-market execution? And how do we maximize coverage? And where do we put our resources? So these are some of the things which we are helping with clients right now. So for example, how are we looking at deals, and which segments or which portfolio in our service offerings needs to be positioned across which kind of segment, and should we adjust the pricing, or should we repackage the service offering to make it more amenable for customer budgets? So these are things which we are working with some of the clients right now. And at the go-to-market execution is we are helping clients come with 30, 60, and 90-day GTM execution plans. And this is after tweaking the GTM for COVID-19 and realigning it to micro segments, which we have calibrated post-COVID. And also have well-defined close plans, which helps you to close deals faster. There's no point selling large deals right now. So you've got to be selling a lot of smaller deals and find ways to get inside your customer accounts. And finally, on the coverage side, how do we rebalance the field? When you were sales heavy, field sales heavy, how do you mix and match your sales resources so that you have the bang for the buck? And also, how do you align your quotas to the new reality and adjust compensation plans? So if you have not done any of this at this point in time, you pretty much are still in the zone of overwhelm. So we don't want you to be in the zone of overwhelm, but rather move into zone of action. So if you're not going to execute activities in July, August, September, you're not going to land your numbers or whatever numbers you can land by December 2020, and your next 12 months is going to be a real rough ride. And we don't want that for you. So we would request you to give us a call and see how we could help you run a post-COVID-19 workshop, of where we can take a look at your segments, take a look at your positioning statement right now. How do we make you relevant for the new normal going forward? And how do we have to look at the sales plays and sales motions and tweak your GTM so that you are very much razor focused to go hit your numbers? So if this is of interest to you, reach out to us. We are working with a lot of customers right now, and we've been super busy at this point in time. So take action right now and make your business count, and best wishes for you for the next 6 months. And let's go get it done. Thank you.